Hey, this is Chris with President's Club, and we are on week 5 of the book Psychology of Selling by Brian Tracy. I highly recommend, if you do not have the book yet, to order you a copy of it and go back through it. We've gone through in the last 4 weeks the first chapter, and so today we'll move into chapter 2, which is set and achieve your sales goals. Set and achieve your sales goals. The first thing he says is the highest paid salespeople know in advance how much they're going to earn each week, each month, each quarter, and each year. They know how many calls that they will have to make to hit that particular level of sales. They know how many appointments they need to run, how many deals they need to close. They know all of their numbers to reach the goal that they want to go. So here's what he says. The first thing you need to do is choose your annual income. How much money do you want to make in the next 12 months? How much money do you want to make in the next calendar year? What is your annual income? One of the ways that he says you can do this is take your highest income year and increase it by 25 or 50%. And that can be your new annual income goal. And then once you do this, put it in writing. Once you write it down, it becomes real. After you choose your annual income goal, then he says choose your annual sales goal. Here's the question he asks. How much am I going to have to sell this year to achieve my personal income goal? So if your annual income goal was $350,000 in sales, that was what you wanted your income to be from sales, then he asked the question, how much premium do you need to sell in the next 12 months in order to hit that number? Once you have that number, break it down by 12 months, 52 weeks. Eventually, you break it down to per day, and you have all of these numbers worked out so that you reach your annual goal. So here's a couple of points that he gives in chapter 2 to help you with that. Number 1, set clear activity goals. Set clear activity goals. Determine the specific activities in which you must engage to achieve your desired sales success. What that means is how many calls will you need to make, how many appointments will you need to run, how many deals do you need to close. Figure out the exact number that you need in order to do this. Our top salespeople can tell you how much money they make per phone call. They can tell you how many appointments they need in order to sell a certain amount of insurance in the next month, because they know their numbers. They're very specific on their activity goals. He says you control your sales life. The most important part of planning your activities is knowing that sales activities are controllable. A lot of times we take sales and we think it's more fluid, that we can't really control it. It's based off the client, based off of whatever. What he says is this: he says you cannot decide or determine where a particular sale will come from, but you can control the input, the activities that you must engage in to achieve the sale in the first place. In other words, if you know how many phone calls it takes, if it takes you 12 phone calls to close one sale, and then you need 20 sales, you multiply it by 12, and now you can control your sales success. And so your sales life is controllable. Your results, he says, may amaze you. When you start setting goals for the next week, month, and year, and start working towards them systematically each day, you will hit those goals far faster than you ever expected. Number 2, tap into your subconscious mind. Tap into your subconscious mind. He spoke a lot about this in chapter 1, but he says once you have programmed a goal into your subconscious mind, it takes on a power of its own. Your subconscious begins to tell you about opportunities that there might be, possibilities around you. It starts opening doors for you that you may not have seen before. He says use the right words at the right time based off your subconscious. He says this: when you feel excellent about yourself, your subconscious mind will give you exactly the right words at exactly the right time. Have you ever been really nervous meeting someone, and then after you meet them, because you're nervous, you say some of the dumbest things? He says your sales presentations are that way. When your subconscious mind believes that you're not capable, then you are going to act in a way that shows that you're not capable. So you have to control your subconscious mind by what you say to yourself. Number 3, set personal and family goals. Set personal and family goals. These are the reasons why you do what you do. These are the reasons that you get up and early in the morning. It's the reasons you work all day. These are the reasons you overcome disappointments and the difficulties. These are the things that make it worthwhile for you to fight for what you're fighting for. And so make sure those are clearly marked out for you. What is the why behind all of this? He says you should imagine that you could double your income in the next 2 to 3 years. So imagine that you double your income. Let's say you're making $150,000, and let's say you double it. Now you're making $300,000 in the next 2 years. So then once you do that, take out a sheet of paper and ask yourself this question: what are some of the things that you would change in your life? What are some of the things that would be different? Would your vehicle be different? Would your house be different? Would your vacations be different? What things would be different? Write these things down and make a list, and this is your list of motivation to help you with your personal and family goals. Number 4, achieving goals. He says build a fire under your desire. Build a fire under your desire. If you have only 1 or 2 reasons for achieving your financial goals, you will be easily discouraged by setbacks and difficulties. It'll be hard for you to deal with failure and rejection. So you should set more reasons behind your goals. He's not saying you need to set more goals, but more reasons behind it that motivate it. The more you want it, the more it is you're guaranteed that you'll do whatever it takes to accomplish it. So you may have 2 goals or just 3 goals, or may just be dealing with your annual income goal. But what are the 10 reasons behind it? Maybe it's your spouse, your children, your home. You start listing out these reasons for those 2 goals, and that gives you more fire for those goals. The number 1 reason for success of top people, according to Brian Tracy, is their commitment to goal setting. He says that their commitment to goal setting is what drives them forward to keep accomplishing more and more. Visualize your goals. Create a clear mental picture of the person you want to be and the goals that you want to accomplish. Picture the prospect signing the application so that your subconscious mind learns that that's what it's supposed to look like. Picture them being excited that you're there and that they want the product and that they buy the product. When you picture that in your mind, you teach your subconscious that that's what it looks like. Say it and see it. Your subconscious mind is activated by both pictures and by strong affirmative statements. So by you speaking clearly to your subconscious, it begins to obey it. Create a clear mental picture. Everyone visualizes and talks to themselves continually. Everybody does it. The difference between the top salespeople and the average or low salespeople is the content of their inner dialogue and their mental pictures. It's what they're saying to themselves. A top salespeople think and talk about their best-selling experiences in the past, then they imagine they're going to repeat it. As they're walking up to the house to go sell an insurance policy, they're thinking about all the times that they've sold insurance policies in the past and the people they've helped. On the opposite, low salespeople think about their negative experiences in the past, and they're doomed to repeat it. Negative salespeople are walking to the door thinking, I'm not great at sales, and this went bad, this went bad, this went bad in the past. And so as they're walking to the door, they're already setting up their subconscious to look for them not making the sale. And so they end up repeating it. Remember, you control your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is neutral. You can shape it to whatever you want it to do, whatever you want it to obey. It does not think or decide for itself. It merely obeys your mental commands. So you create whatever it is that's going to take place in your subconscious mind, and then your actions will be displayed based off of your subconscious mind. Number 5, selling like Columbus. He says this about most salespeople. He said, well, when Columbus set off setting a route to India, he didn't know where he was going. When he arrived in the Americas, he didn't know where he was. And when he got back to Spain, he didn't know where he had been. He says most salespeople are like this. They leave in the morning with only a vague idea of where they're going. When they get to the customer's house, they just say the first thing that comes out of their mouth. And when they get back to the office, they're not really sure what happened to them. So the way you combat that is, number 1 is plan your calls in advance. Plan your calls in advance. He says top salespeople prepare mentally by mentally rehearsing before they get there. In their mind, they've already pictured what it is going to look like. They already have an idea of what the ideal situation is, the ideal appointment, and in that ideal appointment, they close that sale. So plan that call in your advance. This doesn't mean that you write out everything you're going to say or you fill out all your whatever quotes that you need before. It's more of your subconscious mind and planning to make the sale instead of planning on losing the sale. Then he says, I see yourself as the best. Continually imagine yourself as the very best in your field. Model yourself after the highest paid salespeople in your industry. The more that you see yourself that way and the more you model yourself that way, you begin to perform that way. High salespeople do high activities. So when you see yourself as a high salesperson, you begin to do high activities. When you do more activity, you make more sales, thus making you a higher salesperson. Now, you'll see along with it the notes and then the reflective questions. We want to encourage you to go through, answer these reflective questions, take some time and make application to it. Education is only good with implementation. And so that we would encourage you to grab a hold of Brian Tracy's book and begin to read through it as well. We think it would help you a lot. If you missed the last 4 weeks, you can go to President's Club's website, and you can find that on the main site. Once you log in, you can see all the past videos. Thank you for logging on. We'll see you next week.